Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, for 1 year as we read through St. Faustina's diary. Join me, Amy Thomas, each day for a short reading out of the diary which brought us a deeper understanding of Christ's divine mercy. Hello, Catholic pilgrims. Today is day 265 of our readings from St. Faustina's diary. We have 100 days to go. That is hard to believe, and I'm beaming from ear to ear. We've made it so far. I'm so proud of all of us. Round of applause, pats on the back, high fives, thumbs up. If you could see me, I'm doing all those things. But really, honestly, awesome job, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in every day. It's so interesting. When I first started the podcast, I had a lot of listeners. And that was, back in January. And then it fell off, which is pretty typical of things like that. People get very enthusiastic and then, it wanes, it falls off. And so I was prepared for that. And then right around Easter time, my numbers for listeners went really high. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was people coming back from Lent and found out about the podcast. I'm not really sure, but the numbers went up. And then it sort of trickled down just a little bit, but recently the numbers have been really, really good. And I don't know if I've gotten a lot of new listeners or what's going on, but I'm so happy that so many people are hearing this podcast. Not because it's my voice, but because of the message coming out of Sister Faustina's diary. I'm thrilled. So congratulations, we've got 100 days to go, and let's get started today. So Sister Faustina is going to have a young woman show up at the convent, and for whatever reason, they can't take her in. It sounds like they don't have enough room. And Sister Faustina is lamenting over strayed sheep. And we all have those in our lives who have strayed from the faith, and it pains us big time. And sometimes when people stray away from Christianity, there's nothing that we can do about it. Sometimes it's just out of our hands. And there are a number of reasons why people walk away from the faith. But there are 4 major ones that I came up with of ways that we can control, or ways that we can make sure we aren't leading people astray with our actions and our words. And so that's what we're going to talk about on the other end. We'll be reading today from Notebook 4, numbers 1304 through 1308. With longing I gaze into the starlit sky, into the sapphire of fathomless firmaments. There the pure heart leaps out to find you, O God, and yearns to be freed of the bonds of the flesh. With great longing I gaze upon you, my homeland. When will this, my exile, come to an end? O Jesus, such is the call of your bride, who suffers agony in her thirst for you. With longing I gaze at the footprints of the saints, who crossed this wilderness on their way to the fatherland. They left me the example of their virtue and their counsels, and they say to me, "Patience, sister, soon the fetters will break." But my longing soul hears not these words. Ardently it yearns for its Lord and its God, and it understands not human language, because it is enamored of Him alone. My longing soul, wounded with love, forces its way through all created things, and unites itself with infinite eternity, with the Lord whom my heart has espoused. Allow my longing soul, O God, to be drowned in your divine threefold essence. Fulfill my desires, for which I humbly beg you, with a heart brimming with love's fire. A certain person came to the door today and asked to be admitted as one of our students, but she could not be admitted. She was in great need of our house. During the conversation which I had with her, the passion of Jesus was renewed in me. When she had gone, I undertook one of the severest mortifications. Nevertheless, the next time I will not let such a soul get away. For 3 days I suffered much on her account. How much I regret that our institutions are so small and that they cannot accommodate a great number of souls. My Jesus, you know how much I grieve over every straying sheep. O humility, lovely flower, I see how few souls possess you. Is it because you are so beautiful and at the same time so difficult to attain? Oh, yes, it is both the one and the other. Even God takes great pleasure in her. The floodgates of heaven are open to a humble soul, and a sea of graces flows down upon her. Oh, how beautiful is a humble soul! From her heart, as from a censer, rises a varied and most pleasing fragrance which breaks through the skies and reaches God himself, filling his most sacred heart with joy. God refuses nothing to such a soul. She is all-powerful and influences the destiny of the whole world. God raises such a soul up to his very throne, and the more she humbles herself, the more God stoops down to her, pursuing her with his graces and accompanying her at every moment with his omnipotence. Such a soul is most deeply united with God. O humility, strike deep roots in my whole being. O Virgin most pure, but also most humble, help me to attain deep humility. Now I understand why there are so few saints. It is because so few souls are deeply humble. Eternal love, depth of mercy, O triune holiness, yet one God, whose bosom is full of love for all, as a good father, you scorn no one. O love of God, living fountain, pour yourself out upon us, your unworthy creatures. May our misery not hold back the torrents of your love, for indeed there is no limit to your mercy. Jesus, I have noticed that you seem to be less concerned with me. Yes, my child, I am replacing myself with your spiritual director, Father Andres. He is taking care of you according to my will. Respect his every word as my own. He is the veil behind which I am hiding. Your director and I are one. His words are my words. So Sister Faustina has this young woman come to the convent, and she wants to be admitted as a student, and it looks like they obviously can't take her in because of space restrictions. And she even says she is in great need of our house. So Sister Faustina really feels like she needs to be there. Maybe she feels like if she's let back out into the world that she's going to go astray. And she even says at the end of that paragraph, my Jesus, you know how much I grieve over straying sheep. And so I think she's worried that this soul may be lost because she didn't get to come into the convent. And so this got me thinking about all the people in our lives who have strayed from the faith. And it's painful. It really is. Every day when I pray the rosary, I do a whole decade for loved ones, family, and friends who have strayed from the faith, praying that God finds a way to bring them back. Because it hurts. It really hurts because I can't bear the thought of them not being in heaven. And knowing now what we know about hell through Sister Faustina's eyes, it hurts even more. I just cannot stand the fact that they may not ever turn it around because of closed hearts. But we have to keep praying. And anyway, there are, like I said in the beginning, a number of reasons why people stray from the faith. And, a lot of times it has nothing to do with us in particular, those people that are in their lives. People have all kinds of reasons why they walk away. But I thought of 4 reasons why people may walk away because of us. And we should do our utmost best to never let these be reasons. Now, we could do our best and do everything just right with these people and they still might not turn it around, but we can't let our example or our words or our behavior be the reason, be an excuse. So the first one is a lack of defense. And what I mean by this is when somebody comes and asks you questions about the faith and we are not educated enough to be able to answer. Now, oh my goodness, there is so much out there to learn and study. So I'm not saying that we all need to crack the Summa open and dive in and become a scholar on everything. What I mean is we need to have a really good education about our faith. We need to understand the catechism. We need to have read the Bible. And we need to just be constantly learning about our faith. One of the things that I do is when I read books, I read a fiction, a nonfiction, and then a religious book of some sort. And I just rotate through that so I can just, keep things fresh. But it's good to educate ourselves about our faith so that when people come asking, we either have an answer or we can say, I don't know the answer to that question, but I can go find out for you. Oftentimes people just give very vague, general, blasé answers that satisfy no one. The whole you just got to have faith answer does not work. And well, we just believe that because we believe that doesn't work. And so it is imperative that we are educating ourselves about the faith. The next one is a lack of forgiveness. My daughter and I are actually reading the Scarlet Letter right now for school. Wow, I have read it before, but wow, it's always so chilling at how unforgiving the Puritan community was back in the day. Now, I know this was a fiction book, but it is based off of some real life things. And we know that the Puritan community was extremely strict and very unforgiving. And just reading through it with my daughter, we're talking a lot about, it's good to call out sin, and it's right to call out sin. However, you can't continually punish somebody for their sin for forever and never forgive them and never welcome them back into the graces of society. Now, if they're continuing to do that sin, obviously you set up proper boundaries, and if it's especially dangerous, you may have to remove them from the community. But with a lot of cases, we just need to show forgiveness to people and say, yes, you screwed up. Let's get to confession. Let's have those sins forgiven. I forgive you. Let's start anew. Let's try again. I'm not going to hold this over your head like a cloud of shame for forever. I'm going to show you that God is a forgiving God. And once those sins are forgiven, let's carry on and become a new person, washed of our sins. The next one I thought of was a lack of example. People leave the faith because the people within the faith don't look any different than the people on the outside. So why am I spending this time going to mass and going to all these sacramental things with my kids and trying so hard? You're not living any differently. So I might as well sleep in on Sundays and I might as well do whatever I want because I don't see anybody doing anything different. And so we have to be a good example. We have to live our Catholic faith fully, fruitfully, and faithfully, and show that we are joyful people. We should not walk around puritanical. We need to make sure that people see that, yes, we are living by the teachings of the church, but yes, we find a lot of joy in our faith because of all the feast days and the liturgical living and just the joy of knowing Christ and being a part of his church and letting him love us. All those things are wonderful. I know when I've read online from different atheists, they talk a lot about how they just don't see anybody living out their Christian faith. Like, I've never met a good Christian, which I doubt that, but there is some truth to it. It is hard sometimes to see the very faithful Christians who are devoted to their faith and fully living it out. And the last one is what this book is all about: a lack of mercy. I think a lot of people leave the Catholic faith or just Christianity in general because they find a lack of mercy there. And this whole book, what we're supposed to be learning is that more than anything, Christ wants to shower us with mercy, and he wants us to be merciful people as well. It's something that you have to keep practicing at. I don't think for us it comes naturally, and so we have to practice at it. And the more we practice, I think the better we get. For Christ, it's just natural. It's just who he is. He's just a merciful God, and he doesn't know any other way. And so we have to practice it. We have to call on graces. We need his help to be merciful. But I think a lot of people leave because they just don't find mercy. So to wrap it all up, we need to be people who know our faith well, to have a defense. We need to be people of forgiveness and mercy And we need to make sure that we are setting a good example by living out our Christian faith well. That is all for today, Catholic Pilgrims. I will see you back here for day 266. And until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.